Yeah. When she left, it didn't set her up with anybody for underlying mental health issues. It didn't send her back to her addiction medicine doctor. The morning of, I think it was December 13th, 2020, which I think was a Sunday, my phone rang early in the morning. It was Angie. She said, Steve, I found Brooke cold and blue in her bed. This is why systems matter. Brooke's one of the 107. Right? This one's on us. This is a preventable death. So, okay, it's over. All right, she's one of the numbers. Let's move on. I've heard that. There's one way out of this. We can kill our way out of it. So let's kill our way out of it. There's a problem with that. Who's that? That's Miss Ava. Guys, addiction is three things. I teach it as a slot machine. When the 3 sevens come on the pay line, that's when the money comes out the bottom. Genetics, trauma, opportunity. That's addiction. So let's look at Miss Ava for a second. Now, Angie, who is raising her granddaughter, Ava, and I talked to Angie just last week. Ava is doing well. She sent me this picture. She's being potty trained. There's her little pink potty. She appears to be very pleased with whatever's taking place right there. Okay? So let's take a look at Ava for a second. What's her genetics? Mom and Dad both have SUD. Her first 7's on the pay line. Let's look at her trauma, adverse childhood experiences. Dad incarcerated, mom dead. Her ACEs score is 2, she's only 2. We know that when the ACEs score gets to be 4 or above, our risk for just about everything goes almost straight up, right? And even so-called real diseases like hypertension, diabetes, all different kinds of cancer. If we don't help this child, what are the chances she is in our system in 10 years? It's about 100%. Those of you who work in this field and have worked in it for a long time know that right now you're treating the children of people you treated a decade ago. You don't know that. We have to get serious about prevention. We have to identify these at-risk kids, and we have to teach them and help them with resiliency going forward. Because just because you have the genetics and trauma doesn't mean you have to wind up there. But there are protective factors that we can foster in these kids, but we can't do it as long as we just discipline and put them in in-school suspension. If you want to know who they are, ask their first grade teachers. They'll tell you. They'll tell you. So what about me? This is my little family, and I know where I am, and I'm an unabashed University of Tennessee fan, and it's been hard for about 20 years. But this is my little family. And we're going to a game in Knoxville. I was on the back porch of one of my professors' houses, and it looks like the perfectly young doctor and his family. Got my whole life ahead of me, and I'm sorry I can't see the screens good enough to show you all this. But that's my son Heath, my daughter Haley, my wife Karen, and then me. If you look real close in my right pocket, there's a bulge there. And that bulge is not my car keys, and it's not my wallet. What is it? It's a bottle of pills. And so when I look at that picture, I love seeing my kids that age, and I love remembering that time of their life, and I die a little bit inside because I couldn't do anything unless I had that bottle of pills. Not raise my family, not love my kids, not go to the football game and join it. I couldn't do anything, and I couldn't believe it happened to me. I had no clue. I got world-class treatment. I caused too much to kick to the curb. I got help with my childhood trauma. I had a mom who had untreated mental illness. She was bipolar. She also had a benzodiazepine addiction. She was ungodly, abusive, not spankings, not discipline, beatings, belts, belt buckles, whips, ball bats, tobacco sticks, ends of shotguns. All right, me and my sister undertook beatings. When I was 5 years old, the earliest I can remember, my favorite uncle molested me. And when I was a little older, it got worse than that. I had no idea that those things put me at increased risk to misuse, discontrol. Not a blame, not a blame. It's just a fact, it is a risk factor. And so there I am living this double life, but I step into a treatment system that's designed to put me back to work. I didn't step into a treatment system that put me in jail, hung 2 felonies on me, and then denied me basic medical care. I didn't step into that system. So a few years ago, I got a registered letter in the mail. I don't know about you all, but I've never gotten anything in the mail registered that was good, ever, right? Except for this one. Our governor, Bill Lee, appointed me to be on the Tennessee Board of Medical Examiners. Okay, I should be in front of the medical board, guys, not on it. But yet I'm on it. I'm now the vice president of it. Right? I love my work there. I'm the chair of the Tennessee Opioid Abatement Council. We've got about $1.2 billion over the next 18 years to try to do something about the scourge that has ripped our state apart and ripped our families apart. And I'm the chair of that. And I'm the chair of that, guys, because I'm a turtle on the fence post. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. From Alex Haley, by the way. What's the one thing you know when you see a turtle on a fence post? You know one thing for sure. Didn't get there by itself. Turtle did not shimmy up a fence post. People living in recovery are all turtles on a fence post. Somebody cared enough about them to step into the rock and help them build a recovery community around them. And that's me. That's why I'm in front of you today in Orlando. So let's look at our foundational concepts. One, addiction's not a moral failure. When I was in front of that group in rural Tennessee the other night, being yelled at and screamed at, I got to a point, and this has got to be something bigger than me, I got to a point where I didn't hear the yelling and screaming, and I started to look at the underlying hurt. I started to see the underlying hurt. How come they were yelling and screaming? Because they had been treated badly in the system themselves. They hadn't been cared anything about. One lady jumped up and says, I went to a clinic and I was there this long and I've got these scars up and down the arm. I was sticking a needle in it the whole time. Her providers didn't care enough about her to unbuckle her sleeve and look and see was she still struggling. They just wrote her medicine and put her back out, and she paid her money. And that's the way it is most places.